Our discussion today is with Mr. Isreal Odeajo. He's a computer scientist with a deep interest in data related fields, and he's also a software developer. Our discussion looks at the role of artificial intelligence in Africa. We expect this discussion to shed light on the advantages and disadvantages, or rather, potential advantages and disadvantages of artificial intelligence in Africa, the current advantages and disadvantages of artificial intelligence in Africa. I would imagine this is a discussion for everyone, really. We discussed about how it's going to affect entrepreneurs, how it's going to affect politicians, you understand, and just basic, regular, everyday folks. This is a conversation for everybody that is interested in artificial intelligence or just wants to understand what it's all about. So yeah, I really hope you enjoy it. Also, if you are new to the channel, please subscribe, and I really hope you enjoyed the discussion. So, without wasting much time, Mr. Israel Odeajo. Mr. Israel, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
Okay. The first thing I want to I would imagine that I want us to start with is I know that I saw your status, and I know that from our discussion yesterday on WhatsApp, you said that you had a meeting, you had a discussion. I know that what's it called? We are having this discussion now because you had the prior you had a discussion earlier, and then I know that by 2:32 you have another, I think, training section or something. So it's usually like, and I know that you have always one of your goals is to try to get or try to prepare young people, try to get young people into tech. That's reasonable to say, yeah.
Yes,
Okay. How would you describe um, AI, artificial intelligence, to someone that is not in tech? You understand? To like a grandma now, or someone that is just coming up. How would you describe artificial intelligence to that person?
all right. Thank you so much, Mr. Sherman, for having me. So AI, just like the word says, artificial intelligence. We are all human, and we know that as human, we have so much possibilities, we have so much strength, we have our challenges, we have our weaknesses, and all of that. But as a system, we are now saying that we're trying to now build an human-built system to help women carry out some of these activities that they might not be able to carry out as a person. All right. We are building a system that is a bit intelligent based on human, effort, based on human helping it to learn that same thing. For example, for me, I'm an AI expert. I could build this, I could build that. Can I then say I get tired at some point? The level of activity I could do at a go, then can we now have a system that at that point I am tired and that can help me to carry out that activity, that can help me to carry out that project, that can help me to fix those needs. So in simple terms, artificial intelligence is not the new thing across the world that helps women to carry out their task, or that could mirror the possibility of what women can do on their own. So that will be a simple knowledge. So just see it as an alternative to human activity over a period of time, over an interval, or depending on the scope we intend to use an AI system.
So it's reasonable to say that it's in a way it furthers human as a human effort. You understand? Like given that the thing is it's like an extension of what humans can do, like but it helps to do it, should I say, better or cheaper. It's like an alternative to what humans do.
That's correct.
Oh, okay. So I would imagine that what's it called? Given that as you said, is an alternative to what humans do. Surely, as in, it will be able to, like, there is no limit to the type of work that it should be able to do. maybe yeah, I'm saying this because I had a discussion with someone. I was just joking with someone, and the person is the doctor, and I said jokingly that AI will take your job, and the person was like, I'll see how AI will do intensive care. You understand that, just as a joke. And in my mind, I'm like, if it has enough data, it probably can do it intensive care if it's trained well enough, and if it's given, if like there's no limit to technology. You cannot necessarily say what it can and it can't do at a particular point in time. It was just an interesting discussion that I had that time. So there is just AI is just an extension of human efforts. Yeah. So one of there are so many things that I would want us to discuss. One of them is how it will affect how AI will affect Nigerians. You understand? Given that I would say um, given how the tech space is right now. You understand how the tech space is. Let's say with freelancers now, and given that with AI we can with AI, some of these tasks that are somehow simplified, that's that people can just make small money out of. AI is taking it. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. If you see, if you read some of these reports of what some experts have said, that the jobs that jobs that will be displaced, that AI will take over. You understand? There are some of these there are some of these jobs that are like side hustles to Nigerians. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. So, which jobs do you say in Africa are under threat because of AI? Which jobs do you think that are under threat because of AI? And which jobs which jobs do you think that will be which jobs do you think that AI will be able to like how do you think AI will be able to create more jobs? And which jobs do you think that AI will be able to that because of the rise of AI that those jobs will be lost?
All right. So just like you said, you mentioned with your doctor friend, there are a number of jobs that will be reshaping, not necessarily losing that job. There are going to be a number of jobs that need, to be redefined. All right. At the end of the day, one of them, for instance, is people who say they are professional drivers. All right. I mean, we hear that a number of times across, specifically a lot of space. They
Mm.
will definitely have to be shaping that job or restructure that job because now there are invention of self-driving cars, right? So that's one very important thing. That's a job
Yeah.
space. Also, the guys who work in the bank who needs to come to and say good morning. What can I do for you today? The number of boats that can do that, effortlessly. And
You mean customer service?
yes, please. Even depositing money and all of that. I know at some
Okay.
point at some bank, they add, more like a box where you can drop your stuff, and there is a way
Yeah.
they pick that up and credit you. It's going to reduce. The emphasis is going to reduce interaction with human, and that is the space we are really moving to, in Africa. Of course, might not be there yet, but these are the
Mm.
prospects of what is going to happen. People who say they are professional farmers, all right. Um, the number of tractors right now, the number of gadgets that makes the process seamless with less human effort. Of
Human
course,
effort.
with the
Yeah.
light of satellite images processing, you don't necessarily have to be in the bank, all right? You don't necessarily have to be, on your farm. There are a lot of, systems that you can make available even on your farm space that can begin to monitor who goes in and who goes out. I mean, these are numerous things that is going to be introduced. People will say that that doing transport system, a lot of jobs like that are going to need to be restructured, and that is where I'm going to, such that people don't necessarily have to do those jobs again, but they need to become AI experts to monitor and control some of these systems. So
Someone
somebody
just
will say he knows how to drive, needs to upskill to not how to drive, need to start learning about this new space, so that it can be a leverage. I know a number of top management who are taking AI related courses, not for any other reason. It's just for the purpose of upscaling and keeping their jobs. So these are some of
Yeah.
numbers of other industry that the invent of AI is going to take hold of.
Yeah, I understand. There's this report that this thing I want to read. I want to read to you so that at least the viewers will understand what you're saying better. The World Economic Forum in 2020 released a report called the Future of Work report. I don't know if you saw it, and that the report estimated that by 2025 AI would have displaced about 25 million jobs worldwide, but at the same time it would have created 97 million jobs in that same time frame. You understand? So I agree with this your point that because although some jobs will be reshaped, there are still opportunities for people to still make money. You understand? And the only way to make money, at least even legally or illegally, is to work towards what people want. You understand? So now the trend is going towards artificial intelligence, meaning that if you want to make money, at least for the next, you understand, 20, 30 years, which is usually how long people's careers are anyway, you have to jump on that train. According to the World Economic Forum in 2020 released a report called the Future of Work report, and it estimated that by 2025, AI would have displaced about 85 million jobs worldwide, and but it would have created 97 million jobs in that same time frame. You understand? And so that goes along with what's called the arguments you made that what people will just have to do, especially Africans, is try to update their skills. I don't know if that's the proper way to say it. You have to update their skills to get in line with the demand. You understand? Because the only way to make money is to do what people are willing to pay for. You understand? And it seems that the trend now is towards artificial intelligence and everything. And so it seems that if you want to make money the next, let's say, 2 or 3 decades, you understand? That's the way that it seems is reasonable to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So, how do you think what is it called? How do you think AI is going to affect, or should I say, freelancers, for example? Because that's how many Nigerians are actually freelancers. It's their second, it's like their side hustle. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. It's someone that works as um, a writer, you understand, let's say for a Nigerian, I say, newspaper or all these things, they also have they tend to have a freelancer job in terms of writing. With the rise of things like ChatGPT, how do you think it's going to affect, but not only in writing, but in other other fields?
All right. I guess you're done now because
Yes.
it was a bit giving an impression that you are on it. So the quick one is, so how do people? I mean, it's more like what we've mentioned. I use ChatGPT too, like almost every day, and what I use it to do is to prepare myself, in a way ahead of my daily task, at work or prayer that I do. So whoever is a content writer, what that is giving you to do is to write, because one of the key things about the platform is that it cannot write as a person, all right? But it gives you a framework, it gives you like a template you can leverage on. But because I think people are just generally, lazy. I was sharing with some of my folks, last week about a particular student that was gotten into a particular university. When they checked the statement of purpose, they noticed that it was just copied on ChatGPT. I mean, that was crazy to hear. But then that shows how people can be, so used to a platform or used to a tool, and they forget, doing the work. I mean, if I have a platform, that can give me that kind of structured, professional thoughts, then I could just line myself around that kind of, content. But that being said, is that most of these tools will not use themselves. They need users, they need consumption. I started seeing people saying, learn how to use ChatGPT as a business model, how to integrate ChatGPT API, for a particular project and all. So I
Yes.
think it's the part of leveraging on this tool for what you are doing basically. If I write content, what ChatGPT is going to give me room to do is to see another approach and different pattern and alternatives to writing solidified, amazing content, right? And that's one thing that we cannot run, away from. So what any tool does for you is basically that you need to look at what is there for me, how can I leverage on that too, such that with over time, when I write content, and we've over time seen that even the chat GPT as a tool, just like what you mirrored, we've seen that it has personally passed a number of exams. Right,
Yeah, yeah.
we have been used to. So if it could do that, so that's a good leverage for me, all right, to write content, and I'm sure that my content is going to like be awarded like the best because the pattern that ChatGPT. So that is like a picture of many other tools that we have. I need to use that to specifically to advance my own course, to advance my business, to advance the project and all of that, right? And that's one very key thing that you want to leverage on as a professional, as it were.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. There are, I once asked it, what's it called? As I was starting this my podcast a few months ago. I once asked it, how am I going to make sure that my podcast is impactful, blah 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 blah, no, and that was what I put there, and the advice it gave, it was so brilliant that you I don't even understand what I'm trying to say. It was so brilliant. I was like, it was so thoughtful. You understand? And there are so many there are so many ways this thing can go, that you understand, that you would understand why people are skeptical, or why some people don't like it. If you were like, well, when it first came out, when 3 came out, you understand, there is 4 now, but when 3 came out, you understand? Just playfully, I typed in, write a poem about Nigeria. It's not a poem, rather. I said, write a short essay about Nigeria in the style of um, Chimamanda. You understand? And what it wrote, yeah, I've read almost all her books. And what it wrote, you would actually think that she was the one that wrote it. I don't know if you understand. Like, it's just so, it's just so, it's just so brilliant in that way that um, people have to look for a way. Like as you said, people have to look for a way to try to leverage, to try to get the best, from it. You understand? But it's not only writers, for example. Which advice would you give to artists, not your artists? I don't know if you're aware of this tool, Mid Journey. Are you aware of Mid Journey?
Yeah, I think I've heard about that before.
Okay,
But
okay.
no, it's from familiar with.
So for those that are not aware, Mid Journey is essentially a tool for, it's not for artists, but you understand. But the idea is that you type in a prompt, you type something, and then it will give you an image of
Yeah,
this stuff. You understand? And so, and there are people that there are videos on YouTube where you can learn, where you can design websites. You understand, of this, and even UI UX. You understand? People, so I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say.
I do, I do.
Because of that tool now, for example, like, it does not make sense for me to pay, thousands of naira to a UI UX artist, UI UX, what's it called? Um, Expert.
Professionals, yeah,
Yeah, yes.
professionals.
Yeah, when I can just have, when I can just get, what's called Mid Journey to do for me. So how would you advise those people that have artists, and it's not only that, artists too. You can draw in the style of a famous artist. You understand? You can draw in the style of a famous artist, and so things like that, because it can also copy styles. You understand? Even I am African. You would imagine how this is going to take away jobs from African artists. You understand? Because all you just have to do is just type in the prompt, and then
Yeah.
say in the style of this famous African artist. You understand? And something pops up, and those people, because of that, those artists will sell less. I don't even understand what I'm saying. So, how would you advise African artists, or artists in general, that are obviously going to be affected by AI tools like Midjourney, to position themselves?
Okay, so it's almost the same thing to say that we write programs, all right, that we build codes, that we build website, that we build machine learning models and all of that. And of course, the chat GPT is going to definitely do that well. All right. Of course, but there are so many other things that also goes into it. You cannot compare you know, some of these results to what someone can do as a professional. You cannot remove the human touch. You cannot remove the professional touch in whatever it is you're getting. For instance, at times I ask GPT to help me write some block of code in a pattern, but of course I know that there are things that will not run in that code. But then, to a good extent, it has structured out that idea into something for me. So I think what everybody needs to watch out as professional is the part that we are able to leverage on this platform to get better. Not necessarily that it's going to give us the best. That is why you see, especially for we that write code, you will see that it's going to generate code for you. But trust me, when you run the code, it's going to throw error. And of course, if you are very brilliant about the process, you can keep, making the chat GPT give you more options and tell chat GPT exactly what the problem is. And it begins to give you suggestion and all of that. You
Yeah.
cannot completely compare that kind of system, to human. There is a woman touch to any of these tools. You cannot, remove that part. So as designers, as artists, you cannot remove your own touch, your own niche, your own ways of doing stuff, the things that your client or the things that people want to employ you for, really, away from all of that. What that gives us is a leverage, and mean that is taking out all of our expertise. If it has been, that means all of us by now should have lost our job, because there is a way it can really give us a bit of some of the activities that we do on a day to day. But it does not change the fact that we are still needed because we are experts. We can trick it. At times, it's giving you an idea based on overview. It's
Okay.
giving you a result based on what it thinks your idea looks like. You need to
Yes.
be the one to say, yes, I know that you understand the concept I'm trying to ask, but this is really what I want. But thank you for what you've done. I could pick it up from that end. All right. But then we don't continue to advocate that people get more aware about these tools, because it's a place that creates comfort. All right. These tools create comfort to work.
Yeah.
There are ideas you might not even be able to think up, at a go. But because there is a tool trying to like give you, I mean, it gives you a sketch and ideas begin to come your mind. When you can write a description and something pops up, then you as a professional, you have been lightened already. You have like a picture of some of these things in mind. Then you can now use your craft to come up with amazing, designs and all of that. So I've also seen that it's building websites. Of
Yes.
course,
Yes. From
and I
Midjourney.
also need
Yes.
to, I might still need to still do a lot of tweaking on it, because the website might still need, some other things. It won't give you the automatically, it will not give you link to other, URL and all of that.
Yes.
But the
Yes.
emphasis, you have an architecture, you have something you can work with. And that is a beautiful thing. And that's a good starting point, really, for anybody that even wants to start out at any field. And I think that's the first thing. The fact that you have a tool that can be like a guide for you makes it easier for you to grow on your professional line, makes it easier for you to know where you can seek for help. All right. And that's like one thing that I appreciate some of these tools for.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting because we see in things like what is it called? One thing that I would imagine people are skeptical about is that with the advent of this thing is going to create this fake type of guru. What I'm trying to say is that there's a difference between when someone has learned something to the core and when the person is just like borrowing and patching. You understand? If you learn UI UX from the core, you understand, they'll tell you learn that the whole concept of where everything should be. I don't even understand what I'm trying to say. Like where how users use their eye as their, is it that F pattern or Z pattern, how they go through screens and things like that. You understand? And so there's this skepticism, there's this doubt rather. You understand? There's this doubt that people have that is going, because of the rise of AI, is going to create all these fake gurus is the way to say it. And you can also imagine if we just leave the tech space and come down for a second, you understand? You can imagine a situation where, like Africa, for our literacy level in Africa is already is low. Is 67%. If you compare that, with surely you would understand why people are skeptical that let's say if AI tools become more prevalent, that people will use it for people use it for to write their exams and things like that. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. And so it's not going to help.
Yeah.
It's not going to help us that our literacy level is already low, and then we have this thing that is just going to make us lazier. Do you understand? Because if you're writing, if you submit a
Yeah.
paper to someone that is not tech savvy, someone that is a professor that is like 57, you understand, that does not understand anything that ChatGPT is. You understand? Any of these AI tools, they'll just be like, this boy wrote a very good paper, 10 over 10. But the struggle, the person has not gone through it. So I don't even understand what I'm trying to say. You understand why people worry about things like this?
Yeah, so I understand it perfectly well, and I've seen a number of scenarios for such. In fact, it was just like an interview. It was a developer interview. So somebody was applying for a Java developer role. And
Yes.
of course, he wrote a lot of data structure algorithms. He passed it. And the person asked that, so for how long have you been using Java? He said, oh, what do you mean? So he mean he passed all of the exams. You you understand? So he's asking how many years you've been using it, and he's asking, oh, say that again. So you understand the part that it was just that there was a leverage, but the
Yes.
person is not equipped for it. And that is it's AI is an advantage, all right, for people who are really in that space. That's the truth. It's going to show to you if you have not been writing code or if you have not been doing something in that space, you cannot utilize it because it doesn't come directly raw. It comes like not completely, it comes so raw that you if you don't understand that subject matter, you will not be able to use it. And that's why at times some of these tools they just bring what they can crawl out. It's not 100% perfect. So there are situations whereby they're writing something, and it does not really completely fit into what you are saying. But because that's what they can get at that point, they need to display something. That is the problem about the reinforcement learning process. The agent has to show you something so that it doesn't look like say it's a dollar
Yeah.
to
Yes.
you
Yes.
as the endpoint user. There is a role that both needs to play,
Okay.
and that goes to people who have really been, in the industry, depending on what the category. But the truth is, it's a back and front thing, really. It's
Yeah.
an advantage for the guys who understand how to use the tool, but it's a disadvantage for the guys who have not really trained themselves. And of course, in Africa, we like things being done free for us. We don't want to pay for anything. As far as things are working, we feel that we are comfortable and we have arrived. All right. So of course, I know that we also start building up quack, professionals because
Yes.
that is all. In fact, they will subscribe for the premium as far as they want to get, the result that they really do desire. But in all, this the difference will be clear in conversation. The difference will be clear, when we need to bring something to the table. I used to have I heard about the story. Somebody who said he's a pro, web developer, even before the world of all of these, tools and all of that. So he used to say he was a pro about web development, and so he got to NYSC. So he did not go with the system, and they said they needed to build website from the scratch. And because he has been used to some tools, he said they should find also tool for him that he will need to have that tool with him and all of that. But they said, we've checked all of the village here. We cannot get that particular tool you're asking for. But we know that there is a tool that comes by default with all systems that could be used to build this. All right. So he said, no, that it's only that tool that you can use to build it. So he said, that means you don't know this thing. So another person picked up that same task and used that tool that has nothing. He used more like using Microsoft Word to build the website.
Tools
So he had to
website.
write like from scratch everything, no framework, nothing, no int, nothing. And the person was able to build it. So the emphasis, it will always show in relative to what you can deliver. It will show your delivery, it will show your communication. Their conversation you won't be able to talk about. Presentation you won't be able to do because you know that you can really not attest to what results you are getting, but you know that there is a tool, there is an almighty tool helping you to get, to the
To
state that you
help it
are at the
it
moment.
has been made
So
simpler for
as
you.
much as we are scared, the truth
Yes.
is we will know there will always be rooms to know whether practically or by soft skills. There is just a way to know that this person is not this competent for the role we are putting them in or the project we are asking them to handle. So it's that simple.
I understand what you're saying. I understand. So essentially, AI will help will improve the skills of those that are already somewhat competent at that skill already. You understand? So if someone already has a decent amount of knowledge, you understand, the core knowledge, the basics, you understand, a good grasp of the basics, those are the people that AI is going to improve. But if you do not have a good grasp of the basics, then it will probably, like for this scenario where we're talking about for coding and all these things, it's not going to help at all. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So,
And let me quickly also add that one of the things that I also, because I am privileged to facilitate and train on different platforms, and my students and learners know that one thing I am always interested in is having the basic knowledge of whatever you are learning.
yeah.
I like that there is a need for us to emphasize the need for basics. I mean, as you learn, as you try to, we're talking about professionals leveraging on AI. Please learn the core of that subject matter such that you can leverage well to any tool or to anything you have around you, right? And that's like one plus that I like to add, to that effect. Thank
Essentially,
you.
essentially AI, essentially all these tools will be like, let's say all these tools like, chat gpt and all these tools, they will just be like your assistant in that regard. Like they will not be the main brain behind it. They'll just be something that is assisting you improve massively. Given that, obviously, this conversation, this thing I'm about to ask you, something that probably it obviously will not happen anytime, anytime around this period. But let's say, given that, there's this discussion I had with someone concerning AI, and person told me that at the end of the day, that it is just trained on that. When it comes to should I say deep learning and all these things that all these models, all these things that are trained on, they are trained on human interaction, like ChatGPT now. ChatGPT was trained on, have a simple factoid on ChatGPT. Let me read it out. You understand? Okay, so GPT was trained by 570 gigabytes of text. That's three. A gigabyte of text is roughly 678,000 pages. So that's about 368,460,000 pages of text. And so if a book is 400 pages, that means ChatGPT was trained on about 966,150 books. You understand? And the crazy thing about this is that it's from different places. You understand? It's from both the internet, both opinions. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. And things like, by internet, I mean things like Twitter, Reddit, all these type of places. And so there is no doubt that it will be challenging in the future to try to keep all these things, is to try to stop it not being biased. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And so, how do you think it's going to affect politics? Because how do you think it's going to affect politics? Like, all these AI tools, like ChatGPT, for example. Do you think it's going to have any effect on politics? You think?
So, in what context are you talking about politics? Do you mean politics generally or politics behind the biasness of the two?
Yeah, no, no. The idea is that given that someone was told me that if all these AI tools, that technology first of all does not have any, there's no way that it can be biased or non-biased. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. The same idea of nuclear energy that you use to power cities is the same thing you can use to make a bomb. You understand? It does not have a mind of its own. You understand? So it's the humans that use it to do different things. And so with this new technology now, obviously there's nothing like AI being how will I put this? How will I say this properly? There's nothing like AI being for any political class or anything. But it depends on the set of people that hold seats now. Depends on the set of people that make it. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. So that's the context I'm talking about. Like, there is a danger. I don't know. I'm actually. What do you think? There is a danger that if the wrong set of people get hold of it, you understand that it can change the facts of, let's say, African history or Nigerian history, for example. You understand? Given that with the integration of, I think GPT-4 is in Bing. Is in Bing. And so when, I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. That if someone asks you the question and it can give you the wrong answer because of how the type of data it was trained on.
Yes, I mean, just like you mentioned, biasness, and that's what I was asking. That is one of the ethical issues, that we have with AI systems.
Mm.
All right, there are ethical issues and there are big ones. But of course, at the moment, we've not seen that really. But that is one thing that people are skeptical about. With some of these systems, it's obviously, a lot of factors can determine what a system outputs to us.
Yeah.
But it's a big issue that we cannot even completely look into here. But the truth
Yeah.
of the matter is, but we want to urge that AI systems are far from biasness. They are far from sentimentation. I mean, it should just be the reality.
Yeah.
Because if as it begins to grow, people begins to learn. For example, I mean, I assume that look at what is happening in Nigeria right now, and you begin to hear asked about somebody in Nigeria, and instead of it giving you what we all know is the picture of that person, is
Mm.
giving you, something that will sound good,
Yes.
on the
Yes.
internet, crawling something. Of course, by at the moment, it's just going to crawl out what is real. But people are already trying to trick what is available, in the internet too, and
Yeah.
that's really a lot of fault on its own. But the emphasis ethically, AI is supposed to be non-political. AI should not be biased, should not have gender. I mean, all the possible things you think about should not be available on an AI system.
Yes, 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 yeah. So we should try as much as we can to make sure that it's not biased, it's not political. It's just easy. It always gives the facts, and that I would imagine will be down to what's got the people that train the data, the people that train it, and also at the same time, it should be down to. This is why ethics was important. When I was in University of Ibadan, we did in engineering this thing. We were doing all this engineering ethics and all this stuff. And at that time, I was not serious. I was not listening in the class. Now that I'm older, I've seen the importance of ethics in all these type of situations. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. In all these type of situations now, it's becoming more and more important. You understand that we don't get this wrong. Anyway, let me let me ask you one last question before we round up. Okay, I'm coming. Okay, so we have discussed that it's probably AI is probably not going to affect creativity that much. Like, or rather, do you think it's going to affect creativity? Let me ask you like that, because I know you and I we have said something that if like for things like coding and all this type of stuff, when you're already an expert, it will serve as a good assistant. It will help you. You understand? So sometimes to come up with ideas, but the already ideas that what I'm trying to say is that things like songs, for example, you understand. You can go to ChatGPT and write, give me a good song or rap song and let the tone be this. I've actually done something like that actually. You understand that concerning, I think it was my auntie's birthday. You understand? And so I was like, which birthday text will I send her like this? I just went to ChatGPT and I just typed, yeah, your auntie is turning 70. You understand? How would you greet her in a cheer, very, very, very cheerful tone? And he gave me something. I just copied, pasted, changed some things, and I sent it to her. You understand? So how is that going to affect things like songs, poems? You understand? How do you think that's going to affect creativity? How do you think things like that will affect creativity?
Yeah, so just like we mentioned earlier, the truth
Mm.
of the matter is, we women are human. The niche of woman remains for woman,
Yeah.
even though it is coming that we wants to help us out or wants to tend to be more creative as it were than us.
Yeah.
It doesn't change the human part, the language we speak. It doesn't change the way we are supposed to communicate. It doesn't change, your thoughts around solving a business problem. All right. I mean, the problem you're also trying to solve, it doesn't change all of those things. Being innovative doesn't change all of those things.
But don't you
It's in
think?
relative.
I'm saying, don't you
Okay.
think don't you think that's for now though? That's for now because we know that in the future it will actually start bringing up new ideas. I don't know if you have had this discussion concerning Dojo, that game. that what's it called,
Yeah,
that the game had gone for
right.
thousands of years, and then was it Google? I've forgotten the company that trained the first one. It beats the first player in like 24 moves. Sorry, in like 24 times they played. Then the second one they now created now beats the other one. Like it now came up with new ideas that were distinct from the ideas that humans have had. The game is older than chess. You understand? So surely you think that for now, like in the future, it's going to create more new ways for us to look at things that we have not even considered.
Yeah, it's also the same way. The same way woman gets to think about ideas, all right? And women also, of course, are not completely limited. Just that we are not putting in our technical or our strategic, know-how to play
Okay?
out. So
Yeah.
the problem is that we should not relax. And I think the word is let's not react. And also, I know personally, too, even the attacks I can do, and because I know that there is a system somewhere, I'm just going straight to the system, not even trying to think about it at all,
Yeah.
because it's going to be an idea. Then I can start building up from that end.
Yeah, like me
That's
and my auntie's birthday. I
all right.
understand what you're
Do
saying.
you get like
Yeah.
so that's the problem really. The limitation for man is we so much depend on some of these tools, so which make us not to think again. But trust me, if there are not invention of these tools, are we not going to do our tasks? Are you not going to compose that message yourself? So the emphasis is because we now have so much leverage, women are also numerous with ideas. Our creativity knowledge is still very deep as possible, but the emphasis is that are we still okay? For example, take for instance, all the professors in the university winning, grants paper, winning scholarship. Why are they still the ones winning? Why not we, the guys using GPT, or the guys in the new generation winning some of these things? You will see the lecturer who does not even have access to internet, right? Running, a grant process,
Yeah.
proposal, and successful. So the emphasis it does not still change the role of human effort as it were. There are
Okay.
still people who are still not believing in the tech space and believing that the traditional way of doing it, and it's still working. That's just about the fact that woman also still has a very high tendency of thinking. And that is why the system will get better because there are also people at the back end behind the scene thinking for the system to
For
get
the
better.
system to
It's
get
some
better.
people's hard work that makes the system.
Get
So
better.
if people can think for the system to get better, then that means for us as women, we are not limited in how much we can think and be successful in our profession, in our career, and of course, all around.
Okay. Okay. That's well put. Anyway, so Mr. Israel, how where should people find you on the internet? So if people want to see
All
your
right, so
work,
I'm more active on my LinkedIn. So it's just like my name, Odeajo Israel.
yeah.
I can be reached, and of course on my Twitter at Israel Kings One. Israel, yeah, Israel Kings One. Of course, my GitHub also is Israel Kings. So it's www.github.com/Israel Kings. ISRAELKINQ and Z for zebra. Israel Kings. But on Twitter at Israel Kings One. Just add one to that. And of course, my LinkedIn, Odeajo Israel Lanriwaju.
Oh, okay, okay. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed the discussion. Hope you take care of yourself.
Yeah, you too.
Right.
Thanks. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Right.